One of the strategies that I use to make money on stocks is to look ahead and try to find sectors that are discounted and are going to rise in the next 2 to 3 quarters. And I think I found one in the financial sector. I'd like to share with you the analysis I've completed on this sector and opportunities that I'm seeing in this sector for the next 12 to 18 months. My name is Victor. I have an MBA and I analyze companies and share that analysis on YouTube. All the analysis is part of my personal portfolio and in companies that I think are worth taking a look at. And in many cases, I'm an investor in most of the stocks that I cover. In this video here, I'm going to review the financial sector and take a closer look to see what opportunities exist in this sector. There's a couple of things just high level. I think, first, the financial sector is underperforming the S&P. If you recall, there was a big scare in banks. The Silicon Valley Bank bankruptcy, boy, it put a lot of scare in the market. And all bank stocks went down. And some bank stocks were punished quite severely. But it's the same bank before and after. They were well capitalized. In some cases, these banks are growing. So it's interesting to see that there's a big discount in this sector and they pay very high dividends. So if you're going to be waiting a little while to see that stock price rise, you're going to be paid a nice dividend. And I am seeing rising value in bank stocks as well as insurance stocks and financial services stocks. So let's take a closer look. Now it's easy to see what's working today, right? Hey, this year it's technology stocks are doing great. But the trick was to buy them back in 2022 when they were heavily discounted. For example, Meta was heavily discounted. And if you bought it in 2022, you're just loving the current stock price. But the hard part is figuring out what's going to go up really high in 2024. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to find a sector that is discounted without merit, meaning that the fundamentals of the companies within that sector are really good. And once the market wakes up to it, the stock prices will go up. Now, we always have to keep an eye on the economy. Where are we in the cycles? Right now, we're expecting that we're going to go into a recession. It's expected to be a mild recession. That's what I'm expecting. And it's probably, we're going to be in and out within 12 months or so, maybe a little longer. So here I'm looking at this sector, starting off with the S&P. The S&P has done well this year. It's year to date 16.1 return, but the last month hasn't been very kind. The month of August was actually a down month for the S&P. Financials haven't had, a very good year either. The year to date is actually 0.13, so relatively flat. And then the last month, it's down 3.22%. But historically, it's done well. Certain areas of financials have done really well. I'm going to slice up the financials sector further and show you where that particular sector has had really good winners in the past. The thing I'll point out is that financials tend to be good early in an upward cycle. And I think we're heading into a light recession and then we're going to head out of that light recession. So I think right now we're seeing discounts because the market tends to trade on what's going to happen 12 months from now. So the market's looking at recession. But pretty soon the market's going to realize, okay, we're going to get out of that recession. And I think that's when these financial stocks are going to rally. So the specific sectors broken out into different industries. We've got banks. Of course, you'd probably recognize JPMorgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. You got capital markets. So you have like Charles Schwab, Goldman Sachs, consumer finance. And consumer finance could be companies like Ally Financial. You have financial services like Visa or PayPal. Insurance companies, life insurance companies like Prudential are insurance companies in the sector. And you can see that based on the particular industry within the sector, financial services has been doing okay. Year to date, it's about 11%, and it's doing okay. But other sectors like banks, boy, they're having a tough year. And I think it's that whole scare within banks when Silicon Valley Bank went bankrupt. It put a lot of scare in the market. Also, consumer finance has had a really tough month, and year to date, it's pretty much close to flat. But I'd be interested in seeing, what consumer finance is being affected. I think that's due to the expectation that we're going into recession. I think that's going to put a lot more pressure on that consumer, and you're going to see maybe some bankruptcies on the consumer side. So I think there's more risk on that consumer finance side. I've been tracking many of these companies, and I'm an investor in most of these companies listed. But I wanted to go through and just show you what I believe is an opportunity in the market. PayPal, there's a lot of videos on PayPal. This is a financial services company, and I think there's upside of 89% on PayPal. They don't pay a dividend, but really good upside. Robinhood is a financial services company, and they really focus on the next generation of investor, the younger investor. I think they have terrific upside, and they're doing a lot of good things for their customers. They don't pay a dividend, but really good upside. StoneCo is a company down in Brazil, and they do a lot of things that PayPal does, but down in Brazil, really high growth company, no dividend, but they've been a really good winner for me. I've made money already, and they have very good upside. Ali Financial's had a couple of tough years. The automotive industry is kind of shaky, but they're more a consumer finance company, and they also have an online bank. They have good upside based on their valuation, and they have a dividend of 4.29%. Keep in mind, I've done videos on all these companies. So if you look at my channel and you want to see deeper analysis, you can take a look at my channel. MSB Bank is a very good bank in the Midwest. It's probably a smaller bank. They have upside of 49%. They pay a really strong dividend of 5.26%. Citigroup's a big bank, pays a 5.22% dividend, has very good upside. The reason I like Citibank over JPMorgan or the other big banks like Wells Fargo or Bank of America is this dividend rate. The dividend rate is really high. And if you look at the PE ratios, I think Citi has the best PE ratios of the big banks. US Bank's a mid-sized bank, really nice and profitable, growing and really growing quickly. They have a dividend of 5.32%. They've been down this year, but holy smokes, they have good upside of 45%. So it'd be great to see some upside on US Bank over the next, year to 2 years and be paid that nice dividend in the time that you wait for that stock to go up. Prudential, I've made money on Prudential, really nice insurance company. They pay a high dividend of 5.26%, profitable company, and they have upside of 36%. So those are, there's a lot of opportunity that I'm seeing in financials. I'm putting my capital into the financial sector, believing that this is going to hit in the next 12 months. This is the same way I went into technology in 2022. I kind of spread my capital across probably about 10 different companies. The two biggest ones that I bet was Meta and Airbnb in 2022, and it really paid off. But I also bet on other companies that I did well with. And I'm feeling like the opportunity for financials is here because these stocks are going to be valued a lot more in a year to 18 months. So it's important to try to figure out which sectors are going to be the ones that win in 12 months. And I'm trying to do that in looking at financials. I think this is a sector that's going to be a winner, but you got to get in early. If you wait a little bit and then all the big analysts begin to really see that, hey, banks are okay, they're well capitalized. All these companies are needed for our economy to function. So I think in the next 4 to 6 months is the time to really stock up for me on these stocks, because after that, I think the data is going to be out, and I think more investment's going to come in, and you're going to see stock prices go up in this sector. That's what I think about this sector. I hope you thought this was interesting. If anything, the strategy of trying to find sectors that you get into early, but once the market kind of warms up to that sector and sees that, hey, in the near future, it's going to do really well, that's when you see your stocks pop, and that's really, really profitable to do. Love to hear your comments in the comments of what sectors you believe are going to do well. Love to hear those comments, and I'd love to hear comments on what you think the financial sector is going to do over the next 12 to 18 months. Thank you very much for watching. Please like my video and subscribe to my channel. That'd really help me out. Good luck investing in 2023.